It's exactly 4 p.m. Car local time and you're watching Qnews. We begin today's bulletin with the latest developments in Gaza. At least 45 Palestinians have been killed and dozens others injured in Israeli shelling in Beit Lahia in northern Gaza. Palestinian media reported that Israeli artillery targeted several homes in the town overnight, resulting in extensive casualties. Once a vibrant recreational destination in Gaza, Beit Lahia now lies in ruins, bearing the scars of ongoing conflict. Israeli forces have detained at least 25 Palestinians across the West Bank in the last 24 hours. The arrests took place in multiple provinces, including Ramallah, Nablus and Qalaqliya. Since the onset of Israel's recent military campaign against Palestinians on October the 7th, the number of Palestinians detained in the West Bank has now exceeded 11,500. Israeli warplanes have bombed the third floor of Kamal Adwan Hospital in the northern Gaza. The strike ignited a warehouse storing medicines and medical supplies received just 5 days ago from the World Health Organization. Medical sources reported that all surgical services at the hospital have been suspended due to the ongoing attacks. 3 Palestinians, including a child, have been killed in an Israeli airstrike on the Noor Shams camp in Tul Karam. Local Palestinian media have reported that numerous Israeli military vehicles, accompanied by 3 bulldozers, entered from the west, moving through Tul Karam camp towards Noor Shams. The incursion imposed a tight siege, damaging infrastructure, shop entrances, and destroying water and electricity lines, resulting in widespread outages. The Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territory, including East Jerusalem and Israel, has condemned the rising number of child deaths in Gaza amid Israeli strikes. Chris Sidotti stressed that children are not terrorists and warned that the conflict risks transforming the occupied territories into a terrorism creation factory in the coming decades.
Since then, at least as of last week, 13,000...
The UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in the Palestinian territories, Francesca Albanese, has called on the states to help prevent the complete destruction of Gaza. Albanese stated that the United States is an enabler of Israelis' actions. She also questioned Israel's right to a seat at the United Nations, which was granted in 1949.
After the first set of provisional measures issued by
the United States Department has reported that it has not observed a significant improvement in aid reaching Palestinians in Gaza. The U.S. warned Israel to take steps in the next month to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza or risk potential restrictions on U.S. military aid. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin wrote to Israeli officials earlier this month, demanding concrete measures to address the worsening conditions in the Palestinian enclave.
Inside Gaza, and we continue to see breakdowns in communication between Israeli forces.
Since October 2023, escalating Israeli attacks have severely impacted Palestinian education, resulting in tragic losses among students and educators, widespread injuries, and the destruction of numerous educational facilities across Gaza and the West Bank.
المستهدفين هن مدنيين. وضع شيء مرعب، شيء بخوف.
Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Naguib Mikati has expressed hope that a ceasefire deal with Israel could be announced within days. Mikati noted that he initially believed the deal would not be possible until after Tuesday's U.S. presidential election. However, he grew more optimistic after discussions with U.S. envoy for the Middle East, Amos Hoxton, who is scheduled to travel to Israel today. And for more analysis on the situation, we move now to Karim Haitem in our newsroom. Karim.
Thank you, Rana. And now we are joined from Beirut by member of the Lebanese Parliament, Dr. Najat Aoun Saliba. Welcome to Q News. Now, in light of the recent diplomatic efforts, do you see any hope of reaching a ceasefire in the coming hours or days?
We definitely support any diplomatic effort to get to a ceasefire and eventually solve the solution peacefully instead of continuing the mass killing that Israel has been doing on our cities, especially also attacking the historical and cultural sites as it has done in Tyr and in Baalbek. It was risky yesterday, close close to attacking the Baalbek as well. At the same time, we are very skeptical with the outcomes of the peace talks or the ceasefire talks because we know that Israel has done it in the past and will do it again. There were so many ceasefire talks for Gaza, not gone into positive results and have shown that Israel changed its mind. That's why we look very hopeful that those talks will lead to a ceasefire, but at the same time, we are waiting with a high skepticism because of the probably high level or probably impossible conditions that they are putting on the shoulders of the Lebanese government. At the same time, they are really restraining from implementing 1701 from their end. And so we hope that the 1701 will be implemented by the two countries. We also would like our government, the government of Lebanon, to start putting some concrete steps towards implementing the 1701 so that we gain more trust from the international community. But at the same time, like I said, even though a lot of people in Lebanon, including the Lebanese government, are really working very hardly to reach a ceasefire deal, the prospects look very very tricky, I would say at this time, and experience doesn't look experience in the past from the talks with Gaza doesn't give so much hope in the results.
And of course, this goes hand in hand with the continuous airstrikes on many Lebanese cities, and of course in southern Lebanon we've been seeing this even today. In light of perhaps what Naim Qassem said yesterday in his speech, in his first speech as a Secretary General for Hezbollah, do you think Hezbollah is prepared to abide by any kind of deal that could be achieved in the coming hours and the coming days, according to the reports of news outlets, specifically coming from the United States?
That's the most important question. Thank you, Karim, for this question. It looks to us that the first time before he became the Secretary General, he said that they consider Nabih Berri as the big brother, and they want Nabih Berri to continue with the talks, with the diplomatic talks. Yesterday, we see a different tone, and we see them continuing or calling to continue the fight. And this is why we are a bit skeptical. It doesn't seem to us that Hezbollah is ready to put all his resources and submit to the government of Lebanon and become part of the state, so that the only entity that is Lebanon and no one else. From the talk that we heard from Naim Qassem, it seems to us that the influence and the interference from Iran continues to destroy Lebanon and continues to push Lebanon to fight again and continues to push the Lebanese people to get killed for a cause that is not our cause and for a fight that is definitely not our fight. So we didn't choose this fight. Our kids and our families did not choose their homes and their villages destroyed. This is a battle of Iran and Israel on our territory. And we hope that one day Allah starts to stand behind the government of Lebanon, and we stand together with the Lebanese people to build a state of Lebanon rather than just, calling for more destructions and calling also calling and preaching and praising the Iranian interferences in our lives.
Let me ask you on the other side, we are expecting outcomes from the visit of Brett McGurk and Amos Hochstein to Israel. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think more pressure from the United States on Benjamin Netanyahu, any kind of changing in discourse or path towards whether de-escalation or even a ceasefire plan or a deal that can be implemented in the next few days?
I'm not claiming to be the expert on the foreign affairs of the U.S. government, but one thing is obvious is that the American people and all the publicity in the United States is going towards the election. Probably Biden wants to claim some victory here before next Tuesday, but I think Netanyahu knows a lot better than this.
Can that be a point of advantage for these ceasefire talks or for these diplomatic efforts? Can this
Absolutely.
The point that the Biden wants a victory?
Yeah, we do hope that this victory can happen, but I'm saying that Benjamin Netanyahu knows a lot better how to play the politics in the U.S., and I'm not sure what the relation is between Biden, Harris, and Trump between Netanyahu and Harris and Netanyahu and Trump, and what he's expecting to happen after next Tuesday. That's why I am saying that we look at this ceasefire talks with high skepticism, and we hope for the best, definitely, and we hope a ceasefire can happen sooner than later so that we can save people's lives and save people's belonging as well. Because right today, the whole camp of Rashidiyya has been asked to evacuate. This means that we have also the Palestinian life put at risk, and we have another displacement of thousands of people to deal with. And I don't think Beirut or the Bekaa or the North are able to hold more displaced people at this stage.
Thank you very much. That was member of the Lebanese Parliament, Dr. Najaa Saliba. Thank you very much for joining us on Q News. And now back to you, Rana.
Thank you, Kareem, and we move on with the news bulletin, where smoke rose in the southern Lebanese village of Kafr Kila after the Israeli occupation army blew up house stand, targeted the nearby village of Qnews with inflammable ammunition. The occupation forces advanced operations overnight on the eastern outskirts of Qnews, carrying out a series of strikes using a range of weapons, including machine guns, artillery shells, and airstrikes. Three people have been killed in an Israeli airstrike on the western Bekaa town of Sahmor. Additionally, one person was killed in an Israeli drone strike that targeted a motorcycle in Qaraoun, also in the western Bekaa region of eastern Lebanon, according to local Lebanese media. And in a key diplomatic effort, senior Biden administration advisors have visited Israel to address the escalation conflict, aiming to promote de-escalation and mitigate fears of a broader war in the region.
In a crucial diplomatic move, Senior advisors from the Biden administration visited Israel to address the ongoing conflict in the region. According to reports from Axios, this visit aims to mitigate regional conflict and, in particular, fears of a broader war involving Lebanon and Hezbollah. The advisors are engaging in discussions with Israeli officials to advocate for de-escalation and to explore potential pathways for a ceasefire. The backdrop of this visit includes the dire humanitarian crisis in Gaza, where calls for increased aid and support are mounting amid the conflict. U.S. officials are emphasizing the importance of stabilizing the situation to prevent further regional instability. This visit underscores the Biden administration's commitment to balancing support for Israel's security with humanitarian considerations and the broader implications for Middle Eastern geopolitics. As the situation evolves, the effectiveness of these diplomatic efforts remains to be seen, but they signal a proactive approach by the U.S. to engage in one of the most volatile conflicts in recent history.
Israeli warplanes have struck a house in the Baalbek town of Ain Bordoi, killing at least 4 people. In a recent post on X, the Israeli army spokesperson issued an evacuation warning for residents of Baalbek, Ain Bordoi and Doris, urging them to evacuate immediately. He claimed that these areas are located in a combat zone where Hezbollah's infrastructure, facilities and weaponry are targeted. Israeli air forces have launched their way towards the industrial city in the suburb of Tyre. Israeli occupation aircrafts also raided a house in the agriculture area near Tyre and the towns of El-Sha'atiyya, Al-Malkiyya and Ramadiyya. In the Tyre district, Israeli occupation aircraft also raided the outskirts of Jizin region. And that brings us to the end of our bulletin. Here's what we have been covering. At least 45 Palestinians killed and dozens others injured in Israeli shelling on Beit Lahia in northern Gaza. The United States State Department reports no significant improvement in aid reaching Palestinians in Gaza. And Lebanon's caretaker prime minister expresses hope that a ceasefire deal with Israel could be announced within days. This concludes our news bulletin for the hour. Don't forget to follow Q News on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram and TikTok at QNewsEG to stay informed. For real-time updates, connect with us on the UAMS digital platform. Watch it. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more coming up here on Q News.